Harrison Price for Thursday, October 30th, 2025, a presentation of Bet365, coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the Historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sakaris, Blake Price, Mike Rogerson, hitting switches,
we're all here, present.
Things. Yep. Roll call. As the Vancouver Canucks begin a 3-game road trip starting this evening in St. Louis, it heads to Minnesota, it heads to Nashville. Walking wounded, we will get into that in a moment as the Toronto Blue Jays move 1 game away from winning the Major League Baseball championship in 2025 with a pitching performance for the ages. Last night,
both of us had the same idea to pay
homage to
David Schneider and Trey Yesavage playing integral roles last night, and
Barger as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I had to stay home last night. I forgot what a run deep into the play. Like, we've had it with the Canucks to the second round a couple of years ago.
But it's not every day. You don't play every day.
Of course, Blake and I work the Canucks game, so it's a little bit different. It is purely social for me with Blue Jays games. I had to tap out last night. I was like, you know what? No, I need to watch this game at home and rest. I've been out the 2 previous nights.
When you think about going
to go out tomorrow, of course.
One game influences the next, perhaps, but that was a 50-50 18-inning game.
Mm-hmm.
Jays could have miraculously won that game. Are they World Series champions a couple universes over?
Yeah, I think so.
It's possible.
And, of course, a massive weekend for our boys of summer with the BC Lions hosting a playoff game Saturday at BC Place against the Stampeders. And Vancouver Whitecaps FC on the road in Dallas looking to lock up a spot in the MLS Final 8, advance to the Western Conference semifinals, already leading their best-of-3 series 1-0. So it is a spectacular week of sports that rolls along here. We will start today, as we always do, with the Redwoods Golf Course poll question. Was trading for Evander Kane instead of re-signing Pius Suter a mistake? You can vote yes, you can vote no. And look, we're 11 games in. We gave you a jury still out option if you're so inclined. Blake Price, what says you?
It was a mistake. I said it at the time. I was leery about overpaying for Pius Suter for sure. Certainly, if you're the Vancouver Canucks, you give him the contract he ultimately got with St. Louis. To pry him away from that contract offer, might you have had to add $1 million or add a year or both? Yeah, potentially. But I think given that he is a reliable two-way forward who arguably could now outproduce Evander Kane as well, I think that probably would have been a worthwhile endeavor. And we've seen now with perfect 2020 hindsight here that having another center or capable player down the middle would have been really, really nice for this team.
Yep. They left themselves thin at center, and it bit them quickly. And that is on the manager's lock, stock, and barrel. Pius Suter is younger. He's cheaper. He can play center. He was a primary penalty killer. He's just a better hockey player right now than Evander Kane. And they wanted Evander Kane, and when I say they, I do wonder whether that was ownership who wanted Evander Kane as much as the managers. I would bet that the hockey people knew better, but what you going to do when the owner wants his buddy in town? And look, the other thing I think we need to talk about here is Blake Suter winds up with a 2-year deal at just over $4 million. We were sitting here late last year or late last season talking about how we expected salaries to skyrocket with a huge jump up in the salary cap. We were talking about 4 and 5 year deals with Pius Suter, maybe up to $5 million per season. He comes in way lighter than that, but you had already spent your cap space and given the division rival Edmonton Oilers a draft pick to bring in Evander Kane.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. Look, it's 11 games. It's a long season. Evander did not play a regular season game last year, only the playoffs. So there are some caveats here, and I want to be sensitive to them. But Evander's attitude when he came in here, when the trade was consummated, was, oh my God, dream come true. I've always wanted to play in my hometown. Does he look like a guy who's really fired up to play in his hometown? He was so casual and so blasé about training camp and preseason. And I don't know, maybe that's his vibe. Maybe that's his rep. Like maybe he wanted to be that, I'm above this veteran sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I continue. I didn't quite understand the lack of urgency from Kane's skates. You're a mid-30s player who missed all of last year, have gone through a number of injuries and surgeries. You're in the final year of your contract. You have a lot to play for here. And the Vancouver Canucks have a big stake in your game. And yet, to me, he doesn't look like the most interested, most engaged player.
There could be more emotion on a play-by-play sort of basis. Has he mixed it up as much as people would hope that he would mix it up? I think that's probably left people wanting just a little bit. I think the biggest criticisms have been his defensive play and his penalties taken so far this season. I will say this, I will not defend, but I will bring in this caveat. He probably deserves a bounce or two offensively at the very least. And Matt, I think that even with all of the warts to his game, if you add 2 goals to the mix right now, if he's got 2 goals and 4 assists, I think the pressure on Evander Kane the temperature is way lower than it currently is. And
probably.
And his expected goals are fairly high, depending on where you're looking. Again, don't look at the totality of expected goals because his expected goals against are also very high. But he probably deserves a bounce or 2 offensively.
Fair enough. I think his expected goals against are worst on the team.
Yeah. And we've seen
his
those
defensive
matchups.
play has been poor. I mean, Zibanejad just skating right past him to score the one goal that mattered against the Rangers on Tuesday stands out. But yeah, no, that's fair enough. He could probably, and that's why we have the caveats, and that's why we have a jury still out here.
He's third on the team in shots taken. Mm-hmm. He is 0 for 26 on the season. Whew.
Suter's 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. He's an even 0 and playing 16 minutes and 23 seconds per night for the St. Louis Blues. He may play a lot more than that tonight, though, with Robert Thomas and Jake Neighbors out. Kane, the 4 assists, -4, 17-11 per night, and he leads Vancouver Canucks forwards in even strength ice time. So he is getting opportunity. Oh, Besser has gone just past him in even strength ice time? Anyways, he is amongst the most used forwards for Adam Foote and the Vancouver Canucks. Corsi ranks 11th on the team, Evander Kane. The bottom line is you need to see it from Kane soon, and you particularly need to see it given who is out. As Blake said yesterday, like the entirety of their middle six is out except for Evander Kane, right?
Yeah.
When you're missing Connor Garland, when you're missing Filipino, and Jonathan Lekramacky, who was playing.
Nils Höglander,
who would have been in there.
Teddy Bluger in a pinch plays.
Teddy Bluger.
Third line center.
On and on it goes. The Canucks had to make a trade for Lucas Reichel to have a representative lineup going on here up front. So, need it Now, and yes, when I saw the Suter contract come in for the 2 years at just over $4 million, and this was about a week after the Canucks had made the Kane trade, I thought, oh my God, like Rutherford and Alvin are going to have some trouble with this one.
Yeah.
Our friends at the Redwoods Golf Course, they specialize in custom corporate events. If you're looking for a host, a location, a site, check them out, whether it's team building, networking event. The custom corporate packages can also include golf lessons if you're so inclined, plus a food and beverage component. They have the large heated covered range there at the Redwoods. And that's the spot where we're going to do some of the work with those private and semi-private lessons for your children. Junior lessons available, flexible to your schedule, ages 6 to 16. Set your child up for the sport of a lifetime and get them to work with Craig, the lead teaching professional, PGA of Canada teaching professional at the Redwoods. Go to redwoods-golf.com. I'm sorry, Blake, I'm a little distracted. We've told you that we have this storefront window here in the lower lobby level of the North Tower at the Wall Center, and people come in and they, look and they wave and things like that. There is a lady out here having a full-on conversation who is also pressing her face up against the glass and doing one of these things to look in. I don't quite understand it. It looks like an involved conversation, and yet still she wants to peer in on us, the zoo animals.
To be fair, there's a glare sometimes depending on where the sun is, and you can't see us in the studio unless you get really close, and hence we get some looky loos.
It is a psychiatry convention out there. They might be interested.
They're analyzing us.
They're looking for their next clients. Well said, Mike.
Lots of Canucks fans.
really.
There's a lot of work to be done in this room.
Really, indeed, for sure. Especially after I heard that rendition of "O Canada" last night. That did send me into a state.
Okay.
Oh,
Right.
boy.
All right.
If you don't know the French lyrics, then just sing the thing in English. But don't start making up gibberish and trying to pass it off as French. Yes.
Let's get to our top
Let's get to our top story.
Yes.
Brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Canucks crutch into St. Louis to face Pius Suter and the Blues, missing 8 regulars, and with a record below 500. 5-6, and they have not been 2 games below 500 all season long. They have been 1 game under 500, and yet every time they are in that spot, they found a way to win the next one. Captain Quinn Hughes, of course, continues to be sidelined. Rick Dhaliwal says it's a groin injury. The club is hoping he can join Saturday in Minnesota or Monday in Nashville. Connor Garland, he leads the Canucks with 11 points. He'll miss this game after leaving Monday's loss to JT Miller and the New York Rangers. As J-Pat notes, Game 12, 6 different skaters than the October 9th opening lineup in Lucas Reichel, Max Sasson, Linus Karlsson, Mackenzie McEachern, more on him in a second, Pierre-Olivier Joseph, and Tom Villander. Out, Quinn Hughes, Connor Garland, Philip Hedl, Jonathan Lacramacki, Braden Coots, remember him, Derek Forbert.
Matt, it's
And
only
as
a
you
2-hour show. Come on, let's go.
Nils Höglander has not played all season long. Sorry, Blake.
We have to come up with a group name. We can't list all the injured players for the Vancouver Canucks. It just takes too much time. That's how long it is. Too much damn time. Now,
Blake's got to get to Bed Bath & Beyond.
All that being said, this game tonight is a wonderful opportunity for a team with all those injuries to still get 2 points, Matt. If you want to feel better about yourself, look at the St. Louis Blues.
No Robert Thomas, no Jake Neighbors. And in the case of Neighbors, he leads their team with 6 goals, is their second leading scorer at 7 points. Thomas has 6 points in 8 games. Thomas plays 18:43 a night, so he is a heavily used. In fact, I think he plays the most of. No, Dylan Holloway plays a little more. But that's a key piece out for the St. Louis Blues. In fact, that's 2 key pieces. That's 2 top 6 forwards out for the St. Louis Blues.
They've lost 4 in a row. Mm-hmm. They are -15 goal differential on the season, hemorrhaging goals. Canada needs a new keeper, everybody. Jordan Bennington, thank you for
Hey,
your
now,
service.
no. We're too early on. Lest we forget the Four Nations.
But this road trip is against almost the three bottom teams in the conference. Only San Jose and Calgary are worse than Nashville, Minnesota, and St. Louis, the three opposition teams on this road trip. We thought there was opportunity on the last Canuck road trip. No.
And there turned out to be just not the places we thought opportunity resided.
Right.
Because, getting back to that 500 discussion, okay, they lost to St. Louis on Thanksgiving, 5-2 here, Rogers Arena, matinee. They fell to 1-2. This guy wanted to talk about, are you concerned yet? You remember that?
Well, are you not concerned?
And then they went out and they won a game in Dallas, and they won a game in Chicago, and they won a game in Washington. And they won the first three games of that 5-game road trip to, at that point in the season, you're 4-2 and you're looking pretty good. Alas, they gave those two losses, or they gave those next two games away in Pittsburgh, 5-1, and in Nashville, 2-1. Dropped to the Canadians. Okay, now you're below 500 again, and then got that win against Edmonton. And so here we go. The do-si-do again, coming off the loss to the Rangers.
Well, that's a good point, though. They've already lost games to two of these teams on this road trip. They're not great teams. Nope. You've got revenge factor here. No matter how shorthanded you are, the Canucks can steal wins. And Kevin Lankinen showing last year's Kevin Lankinen or last fall's Kevin Lankinen would be a step in that direction. There are points here on this three-gamer.
Yeah. Canucks have been held to one goal or fewer in 4 of their 11 games. 2 goals or fewer in 7 of the 11 games. The only time they have won a game when held to 2 goals or less was the shootout victory in Chicago. The team has scored 28 goals on the season through these 11 games. But when you take out the injured guys from tonight's lineup, Blake, they have 19 goals in the lineup tonight.
It's not a lot.
We thought offense could be a problem for the Vancouver Canucks, even at full health. It's turning out to be the case, but with a depleted lineup, double whammy.
So that's well under 2 goals per game are in the lineup.
Well under.
So go Kevin Lankinen.
Mackenzie McEachern making his Canucks debut.
Well, that'll help.
He's a journeyman 31-year-old winger who has ample time in the St. Louis Blues organization. Wouldn't that be a story tonight? He'll skate with Atu Ratu, more on him in a bit, and Drew O'Connor. And Adam Foote is going back to loading up that first line. Needing goals, Blake. It didn't work the first time around, but Elias Pettersson between Brock Besser and Jake DeBrusk, what thinks you?
I think the safer bet would be to put a puck retriever on that top line. If you're going to go DeBrusk you could put Sherwood on either wing, I think. So pick your winger, whether it's DeBrusk or Besser. I think Sherwood there would have been the easier, or even Kane, perhaps. The danger here is just the sheer skill level on everybody that's not on that line. The ability to put the puck in the net. Yet if this line figures out how to work with each other, it's the kind of, over this injured spell, Matt, this would be the kind of line that you could say, okay, they are a one-line team. Right now they're a no-line team, I think, Matt. So if this line can figure out the chemistry, I get the theory. But Besser and Petey have never really worked that well as a tandem per se. The Lotto line worked, but let's face it, I think JT Miller was the straw stirring the drink there. Not skill-wise, just in terms of chemistry. If they're going to figure it out, great. But I think we're going to know probably through 2 periods of play whether or not this has got a chance.
We anticipate Pius Suter skate with Jimmy Snuggerud and Pavel Buchnevich, which is effectively the top line, or if not with Braden Shen, with Dylan Holloway and Jordan Kyrou for the Blues. So they're a little bit neutered at the top as well, missing some of their depth. On the defensive side for the Vancouver Canucks, DPD, Elias Pettersson moves up to top pair to skate with Philip Roenick.
Okay.
Thought that was interesting because he didn't use DPD a lot early in the year. And it just seemed natural that Marcus Pettersson was going to move up, and he did. And honestly, I didn't think there was anything wrong with that pair against the Rangers.
No, I think it's just trying to spread the veterans around a little bit. There's a veteran on every pairing now.
Yep. Marcus Pettersson with Tom Villander playing his second NHL game. Tyler Myers with P.O. Joseph. And to Foote's credit, he talked about being an adaptable team, that he would have different sorts of lineups and ways that he wanted to play against different styles of team in the league. So that could be a little bit of what we're seeing. Okay, let's get to Kevin Lankinen, because we talked about him earlier in the week. I think this is a huge start for Kevin Lankinen. I think this is a keep the coach's faith in you start for Kevin Lankinen, because while he hasn't been awful this year, he hasn't been good either. And with Thatcher Demko being maybe the best goaltender in the league so far this year, mentioned it yesterday as Steve Allicat and the Clearside Analytics folks had two goaltenders who have not yet given up a bad goal, and Demko was one of them. I think Lankinen is playing for future starts here tonight, Blake, and to keep Thatcher Demko rested. You fall to 5-7 with everybody who's out. I'm not sure you have time to bleed. I'm not sure you have time to carry Kevin Lankinen through his struggles. And much like we saw last year with Artur Shilovs, he was unable to hold up his end of the bargain as the backup. And if Lankinen has a poor start tonight, Blake, I do wonder whether Foote and the staff have to look at this and say, okay, the best laid plans were we wanted Lankinen to play every third game, keep Thatcher rested, but there is just such a canyon between the performance of our two goalies that we don't have any choice, and it's going to be Thatcher on Saturday. It's going to be Thatcher on Monday, that effectively you get a little closer to your must-win lineup.
Oh, I think that was going to happen most likely anyway, although like everybody's sort of just assuming that the Blackhawks start next week is Kevin Lankinen start. Blackhawks are scoring goals now. Like, you might be better off giving Lankinen the Nashville start and saving Demko for red hot Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks, not your grandfather's or your father's Chicago Blackhawks. But I think Kevin Lankinen does get two starts, one this week here and one of the three next week. If he gets absolutely ravaged tonight,
we should mention Lankinen's one win is against Chicago. He started that shootout win they had last.
If he gets absolutely obliterated tonight, that would be certainly cause for concern and might change the equation. If it's a close game, 2 or 3 goals against and a loss, I don't think it affects the price of bread much. But most importantly, he needs to make big saves, keep his team in it, and he does himself all sorts of favors, never mind the team, if he's able to get them a victory of some sort. Got to look good. Got to get some faith. Got to be more than Chicago. Otherwise, you just are Artur Shilovs. The goals against is .374 for Lankinen. Goal save above average, -2.6. Juxtapose that, Thatcher is 6.4. I, for the most part, agree with you. I would like to know about the quality of goals he surrenders, though, in that 2 goals against, 3 goals against. Although we've talked about the fact that he's not letting in terrible goals. He's just not stopping ones that you'd like him to stop.
Yeah, like the mid-danger chances have been the problem.
Yes.
Right? Like that's a situation where, okay, like if you're going to let in some of those, fair enough. Every goaltender's going to let in some of those. But that's the sort of realm where you've got to perform. When they get high dangers, when you have very little chance, nobody is going to hold that against you. But those mid-danger chances are the ones right now.
Got to bump up the ratio a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Make the saves you're supposed to make, and then make your fair share of those saves against those mid-danger chances, and then coach and everyone's going to have confidence in you.
Yeah.
And you're going to get your ice. When you can't make any of those, and that's been the problem with Lankinen this year, it's a different kettle of fish. It's a different evaluation game to game in terms of who starts. You mentioned the Blues' dreadful goaltending, and we talked about it with Frank Corrado yesterday. And it's very early on, and so you do get some of these statistical anomalies. But the St. Louis Blues are amongst the best teams in the NHL this year at suppressing shots, attempts, and high danger chances.
And yet
They're the second worst team in terms of goals against. I mean, they're hanging with the San Jose Sharks right at the bottom of the barrel of the NHL standings. They're giving up 4.4 goals per game, which is, I mean, you just can't win when you're giving up 4.4 goals per game. Only 3 teams in the league are 4 goals against or worse right now. San Jose and Ottawa are the other two. And I got to say, I'm really surprised. I do think this is probably just a small sample size rearing its head, Blake, because you mentioned Jordan Binnington, Joel Hofer as well. I thought that was one of the best goaltending tandems in the National Hockey League coming into the season, akin to Thatcher Demko and Kevin Lankinen. So I think the goaltending in St. Louis is going to get better over time. For the Canucks' sake, you hope it's not tonight, but I've got more faith in Binnington and Hofer than what these numbers are spitting out.
Could be a bad fortnight. I don't, and hey, I'm not going to take away what he did in Four Nations face-off. I've never been a Jordan Binnington fan, and that Four Nations face-off is not going to change my mind, and I hope that he makes me look smart tonight by being terrible. So I think Canada can do better than Jordan Binnington in goal. And
whom?
I think there's a couple of guys that are in the offing. Nobody by resume necessarily is better than Jordan Binnington. I think there's somebody that's a little less iffy. And I'd love the Canucks to cast further doubt on that by letting him up tonight. Now, that's asking a lot. Again, we told you about everybody who's out. So who is actually doing that? Maybe that top line comes to life for the Vancouver Canucks and gets some shots. And, I mean, Matt, don't you look at the stats? Tell me the coaches say, guys, the goaltending is terrible right now. There are no such thing as bad shots tonight. Like, don't you say that? Because
especially with this lineup, Blake, like this is one where the whole Rick Tocchet theory style of holding the puck and waiting for that shooting opportunity. I think you have to throw that out the window tonight, because I just don't think you have a lot of natural goals in your lineup if you're the Vancouver Canucks. And the Blues may think that as well with who's missing from their end of.
And if they are this good at shot suppression, if you get a half good look, don't wait for the great one. Take the half good look.
Yeah.
And give it a rip.
I hear you on Binnington. I just would like to know an alternative. Like, I don't think that, like, Scott Wedgwood has been good this year. You're not going Scott Wedgwood in the Olympics.
I mean, by if he's healthy and in form, Aiden Hill, I think, actually gives me more confidence than Jordan Binnington, in theory. But Aiden Hill's had some health issues.
Like, are you a Logan Thompson guy or are you a Sam Montembeau guy?
Both of those guys need to prove themselves, but both of them are on the menu, for sure.
And the reason why I supported Binnington as the Canadian starting keeper last year, and you say you're not a fan of his, in terms of the personality, it is quite difficult to be a Jordan Binnington fan.
I guess
he is in the Ron Hextall, Billy Smith, villainous goalie realm. And we talked about this with Corrado all of last year, and Frank grew up playing minor hockey with Jordan Binnington. I want a goaltender between the pipes for Canada who does not suffer from self-doubt, who does not look around the dressing room with the luminaries and future Hall of Famers that he is skating with, let alone across the ice at the U.S. at that lineup, and have any kind of self-doubt or sense that he does not belong. And as Frank told us last year, even when he was a child, like, Jordan Binnington does not suffer from that whatsoever. In fact, I think Jordan Binnington believes in two things: God and Jordan Binnington, not necessarily in that order.
Logan Thompson's save percentages for the last 5 seasons.
He's been very good.
914, 915, 908, 910, 939 to start this year. I think Logan Thompson wants to be the
I think
Canadian
Logan
goaltender.
Thompson has entered the chat. I think he deserves a look here. I would not be surprised if he's one of the 3 goaltenders. I also would not be surprised if he gets, if he is the number 2 goaltender, if he gets a game during the preliminary round. We have seen this from Canadian coaches in the past. Blake, I'm looking at the list of goaltending leaders, and again, we are very, very young in this NHL season, but I continue to see just a whole bunch of American guys and European guys. Like, other than Logan Thompson, I'm not sure there have been any Canadian goaltenders out there who have grabbed the mantle here. Delta's Tristan Jarry has played better this year for a Pittsburgh team that is surprised, I think. Good for him. Good for the Penguins. We're still another 6 weeks or so from this roster. So the runway is getting short.
I think Logan Thompson's got it on his mind that he wants to be that guy.
Yeah.
He's playing spectacular.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Have we talked about Yellow Dog? You
No.
were bringing us a new beer release from Yellow Dog every day
this is
this
the
week.
very newest. All the fresh hop beers I've been writing down. This is the very newest. The Little Dog Syndrome. Little Dog Syndrome Double IPA. Little Dog, Big IPA. 3rd fresh hop beer of the year. It's packed with fresh mosaic hops, delivering the drinkable punch bursting with citrus and papaya, finishing with a piney bite. Part of the Big Dog series, this is Little Dog, supersized.
Time now for Crave the Stats, brought to you by Uber Eats. And today we look at Atu Ratu, who is really craving stats.
Any stats, if you've got stats to donate,
Drop it off.
drop it off at Atu Ratu's door, please.
Curator will have bins outside the stadium.
He has 1 point on the season, folks. These are his last 5 games if you're on a visual medium. Those shot totals are the far right there, third last column. 1 shot per game. And you know what? He's not being brought in for offense per se. But given the dearth at center, him stepping up in any sort of offensive category, you know, if the top 2 lines were a wagon, Matt, I would look at these stats and go, no, that's totally fine. He's holding his own. He's keeping head above water, and the other guys are scoring goals. Guess what, though? Nobody is scoring goals on this roster right now. Somebody has to show a pulse. Is it not time for Atu Ratu to show the guy that was pretty damn good in the last 3 weeks of the season last year?
Yep, he sure was. I think it was,
Good dozen games.
was it 5 goals in his last 11 games or something
Yeah.
like that for Atu? Here's the other category I want to point out on this visual, Blake. So 17:01 he plays against Pittsburgh. That's, of course, coming off the Washington game where Philip Chytil is lost, right?
Yep.
And Bluger as well. So you've got to play because we need centers. Then he plays nearly 15 the next night in Nashville, and those are both Canucks losses. And, okay, he wasn't very good, and neither was a lot of others. Foote decreases it to 12:30 against Montreal. There were some special teams involved there, but then he plays a lot versus Edmonton. Okay, good team win. Just 11 minutes against the Rangers, Blake.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just 11 minutes when you're still down 2 centers in a tight game.
You know, this is not a formidable bit of opposition. Atu Ratu is not going up against the Colorado Avalanche tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Try to distinguish yourself a little bit if you're Atu. And I'm a big Atu Ratu fan. I've been trying to elevate this guy in my own mind a lot. I think he could do it on the entirety of this road trip. Started tonight versus the St. Louis Blues. Put your hand up if you're Atu Ratu and say, I crave the stats.
I crave a stat.
Any stats.
An appetizer stat. You don't need an entree.
Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. Like if the Canucks are playing at home, you can get a buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver, only on Uber Eats. There'll be deals like that all season long. Don't miss it out. Download the app.
And look, one of the things we talked about, and because of the way Ratu ended the season, I think there were a lot of Canucks fans who thought, okay, here's our third line center, plug him right into the lineup, and he will be
launched.
Yeah. As we know, progress is not always linear. Coaches will tell you this. There's often steps back for young players. And so what you have to hope is, okay, we've had some steps back, some backward steps from Atu Ratu, and at some point here soon, he's going to be able to show progress and contribute more to the Vancouver Canucks. We'll see how that goes. Lastly today, in this block, some news from the farm, as the Abbotsford Canucks have assigned goaltender Aku Koskenwo to the ECHL affiliate in Kalamazoo, Michigan. As Dave Hall of Canucks Army notes, this move has been expected for some time, as the AHL Canucks are rolling 3 goaltenders right now, Nikita Tolopilo, Tai Young, and Yuri Patera. Koskenwo had not even served as the backup, Blake. He had not been in uniform on the bench yet this season. Canucks draft pick out of, Finland and then Harvard University a few years ago. Patera has played 4 games for the Abbey Canucks. Tolopilo has played 3 games. Tai Young has played 2 games for the Abbey Canucks. In fact, Patera's played very well. He's got a .219 goals against and a .922 save percentage.
And he was difficult to find on the bench last year. But
that's because he's more of a veteran guy. He was the emergency. They wanted to give the young guys some run. The lineup right now at Abbotsford
requires veteran savvy.
Yeah, well, it's being stressed, right?
Yeah.
With all the players that the Vancouver Canucks have had to count on because of the injuries. So you look at the Abbotsford team right now. You've got 3 guys with 4 points. They've played 8 games. That's your team leaders in scoring. Ben Berard, Vitaly Kravtsov, Nils Oman. So, yes.
Kudratsev's got 5, but he's with the Vancouver Canucks.
Right.
Yeah, not strong.
So, there you have it. The Abbey Canucks feeling the pinch of all these Vancouver Canucks injuries. Let's get to today's menu. It is brought to you by Greta, a fantastic spot to watch the big game. To pregame or postgame, you are mere steps from the stadium and the arena. And if you need a venue for a team-building event, check out Greta, the fantastic street food menu. The poutine is decadent. You can honestly, the poutine probably serves 2. It is that big. It is that rich.
Yes.
The arcade is always fun. Lots of options. Whether you want to play Pop-A-Shot, air hockey, whether you want a classic video game or a new one. For more info to book your event, go to gretabar.com, Greta 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. Patrick Johnston going to join us here from the Province and Postmedia. We'll talk Vancouver Canucks with him. He's got a theory on why it was Kane, why they just had to have Evander Kane this offseason. We will also speak to BC Lions owner Amar Doman. The big playoff game Saturday against the Stampeders at BC Place. It's a 2:30 kickoff, everybody. That is a irregular kickoff time for a BC Lions or CFL playoff game. They have moved it up so as not to conflict or to overlap as little as possible with a potential Game 7 in the World Series between the Blue Jays and Dodgers. We talked to Amar about, not just this game, but of course, they're going to the Apple Bowl in Kelowna next year for a couple of games because of BC Place being used for the FIFA World Cup. Also talked to Amar about some of his duties at the CFL Board of Governors level, including on the expansion committee and, of course, with all these new CFL rule changes that are coming over the next couple of years. Good discussion with Amar. He's candid on a couple of topics here. Also, of course, look back to that sensational pitching performance from Trey Yesavage and the Toronto Blue Jays as they win Game 5 and come within a win of the World Series championship over the Dodgers. The anthems as well at Dodger Stadium, the Canadian anthems. Also look forward to the Caps in Dallas, where an unfortunate matter with Ocampo yesterday at training, which could complicate matters if he's unable to go and he's not at training today for a Whitecaps lineup that has also depleted Blake, and yet they just continue to win.
Yeah. They've got reserves to use
Yes,
that
exactly.
the Vancouver Canucks can only dream of.
There have been countless times this season where you've looked at the Whitecaps starting 11 and went, oh, man. And yet they just go out and win. And in some cases even dominate with
Yep.
B and C lineups. It has truly been an extraordinary season. Looking forward to the big game on Saturday. All of that is coming up. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day. And Blake, my Trey Yesavage, over 4.5 strikeouts.
Obliterated.
Oh, my goodness. We didn't sweat that one at all. We didn't. I mean, honest to goodness, that thing was done and dusted in the second inning. What did you have yesterday?
I think I won mine too. I made note of that during the game, and now I've completely forgotten where I went, but I believe I won mine as well.
Okay, so fire first.
Looking at going back to what we were talking about with regards to the goaltending of the St. Louis Blues, need to shoot the puck. And the Canucks shot leader is the one and only Jake DeBrusk. You get better odds if you choose the exact number of shots on goal, but that's a risky endeavor to nail it perfectly. So I'm just going to go to the over-under. If Jake DeBrusk gets over 2.5, so 3 or more, I get plus 135, and I think he does so tonight playing on that top line.
We've talked about the missing goals in this game on both sides of the ledger, with the Canucks missing Hughes and Chytil and Garland, and the Blues missing Thomas and Neighbors. But what that has done is that's given you a bit of a juicier total on the over-under. It's just 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
And the goaltenders haven't been very good, Lankinen or the St. Louis guys. Give me the over. And part of that, I must say, is wishful thinking. Because
Entertainment-wise.
I'm not sure I can sit through 60
No.
minutes like we had versus the Rangers again.
Give us a 4-2
Like,
Canucks win.
it is a sports cornucopia right now. There is so much entertaining sports going on right now. Please, Canucks and Blues, don't give us a game tantamount to that one on Tuesday night.
I just had the money
That
line. I just had the
was
money line yesterday, by the way.
Just money line on the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Yeah, attaboy. You've done pretty well on baseball. This segment of presentation of Bet365, whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Patrick Johnston coming up next. Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center.
And the segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers, the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. You know it, or do you? You
Well,
don't
this
know
is the
one.
OG, but it's better.
It's the OG badge. This is not the Prius as you think you know it. Go check it out. Take a look at the new lines, the new interior, the fabulous drive of this Prius plug-in. All the zip you need, folks. It can be an EV if you want it to be. You press that button, you're fully electric running errands around town. You need it for a longer haul. The gasser's there if you need it as well. And with 2,000 public charging stations in BC alone, you can drive it EV in most circumstances. Lease one from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months. That's with $3,600 down. You get a $3,000 discount there. You go and visit shoptoyota.ca. You say, let me test drive the brand new Prius. They'll do it at your Pacific Toyota dealer.
You can heat this car, the cabin, from the app without idling.
These days,
It's amazing.
Yesterday, the last couple of days have been cold.
It is in the morning.
It's been very cold.
Our next guest, reporter, author, raconteur, Patrick Johnston, covers the Canucks for the Province and Postmedia. And he's got a new book out on Gino.
Yes, I like to point this out.
There it is. There it is right there. Vanna White doing a good job there.
You've got a book launch, too.
By the way, Matt, I'm a columnist now, just so you know.
Columnist?
Are you really?
Bravo.
Okay, yeah. Game on. Columnist, not reporter. E's and O's.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a time where that was a huge promotion in the newspaper business.
Yeah.
Now, if you just last long enough, they give you a column, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Oh, so kind.
Yeah, seriously, just pulling the rug out from underneath you here.
Hey,
I will still congratulate you.
Hey, he's a survivor.
When you go on with Sakaris, you got to be ready to just absolutely get torched.
Thank you. Thank you.
A dose of reality. Yes.
You're just lucky to be with him, Blake.
Yeah. Every freaking day.
I meant that in the kindest possible way.
I know, you're great.
Yeah.
I was, you know what, Matt?
Your
I was
resilience.
I went and looked. Let's bring this back to sports, Matt. I was yesterday that game that my buddy Tom took us to in June. I had this. I thought maybe Trey Yesavage. He hadn't. It was
he pitched once at the net. So here's the deal. Yeah, he got called up. He pitched on the road, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Then his next start was scheduled for Nat Bailey. It was a rainy Saturday. I want to say May 31st. Yeah. It was a rainy Saturday.
Right.
And in the morning, I was like, oh, I don't think they're going to get this game in. And then I saw on their socials they had pushed back the start time. But, of course, sometimes that just means we're pushing back the start time to inevitably cancel it because if the weather worsens from there. Yeah. So I did not have faith that they were going to get the ball game in, and I sort of told my better half, no, it's okay, I'm not going to the game. We can do something else today. And then Tyler Zickle or Walter Kosman from the C said, we're going to get the game in, huh, Matt? Like, he is pitching. I went, I'm like, okay, well, I'll catch his next start at the Nat.
There was none.
There was not a next start at the Nat.
Oh, well.
No.
Anyway, I don't know why I thought. I mean, it's the fact I saw the picture. They have like two pictures of him in the home whites, and I was just like, maybe I did see him pitch. I was like, because I was pretty sure I didn't, and I didn't. I did not go to a Saturday game.
Yeah, no, we saw the Cal Steven, who of course became the trade bait for Shane Bieber. We saw Gage Stanifer, who had a tremendous run up the prospect ladder this year. I mean, as well as Perez and Rojas and some of those other guys who were good prospects. Some of them were traded as well, but we did not see Yesavage more than the one time on a soggy Saturday in May at the Nat. Okay, let's talk hockey. Yes?
No?
Okay. It was time to transition.
I'm wincing for what insults you're going to sling now at Patrick.
Bad memory. Doesn't know what he's watching.
Yeah, no, I know. I sometimes make him uncomfortable, but that's the dynamic of this show.
Oh, okay.
We will start with the Redwoods golf course poll question. Was trading for Evander Kane instead of re-signing Pius Suter a mistake? Yes? No? Jury still out.
Well, I mean, I think I'm an avowed fan of Pius Suter's game. I think the Canucks would have done well to keep him. This is a question I have not actually been able to explore, but I listen, do we know that he wanted to come back?
We don't 100% know.
If you give him a third year, if you give him $4.5 million, he is absolutely coming back.
I think so too. I don't think it was a one or the other. Nothing I've heard says it was a one or the other. But certainly, once the door closed on Suter, they had to do something. And Kane obviously was a player that I think the owner had long admired. I don't know if it was necessarily the owner's call entirely, but certainly a player that I can tell you that the owner has long admired. And listen, they needed guys, and there was a dark, Jim, they will tell you, I saw it. I said, listen, I get throwing the dart here. Like, I get it. I talked about sort of some of the anxieties I had about certainly the foot speed. Foot speed maybe has not been as huge a problem as I had, but the hands are concerned. Like, he hasn't looked like scoring. He's made a couple nice passes. He's had a couple nice forechecks. He's obviously a physical presence. He's actually drawing penalties. I will grant that. Obviously, taking penalties are driving people crazy, but you got to give to get kind of thing. My review on him is the upside is a mixed bag review. But in the end, he's supposed to score goals, and he's not scoring goals, and doesn't kill penalties. He's not on PP1. To go back to the question, was Pius Suter to me, the question is, was letting Pius Suter go a mistake? It absolutely is, right? Irrespective of what you think about Evander Kane.
Was acquiring Evander Kane at full price a mistake? And I know we've been told there was 2 other teams involved.
We should also note they made the Kane trade before free agency opened, right?
Yeah.
But they spent their money and then weren't able to.
If they had retention and Evander Kane's making $3 million right now for the Vancouver Canucks, I don't think as many people have a problem with it.
No.
A number over 5 starts to hurt a little bit, right?
Yeah, this is a guy that always has done well in his contract year. So, there was kind of I think the other thing that Canucks looked at this situation, because there were other teams that were interested, my impression is they viewed it as a no-risk pickup, that if it doesn't work, they can turn around and flip him to one of those other 2 teams that is interested in him. Because I think there are still teams going to want to bring him in. Like, even if he hasn't scored any goals, the physical presence has been there. He's not changing games for you, and I suppose it's about what role you're bringing him in for. But right now, he's playing a line with Brock Besser and Lukas Reichel, and I will note in his 3 games, Lukas Reichel's PDO is comically low. It's like 963, and the goals aren't really going in, and the goals are going in the other way. So he's had bad luck. So that line could suddenly look very good if they keep it together. That said, the defensive game from Kane is not great, and that was always a criticism of Reichel. So that line may not work because they can't get out of their own end. They've shown some nice stuff, but also they have. Reichel, I like watching the guy skate. He's a beautiful skater. Mm-hmm. I enjoy watching him stick handle the puck. And he's obviously gets scoring chances, but we haven't seen him bury one. And he doesn't look like he was going to bury one.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He gets himself into great places with the skating, and then there's a lot of crest action.
Yeah.
He doesn't look, as you say, close to finishing once he gets there.
Well, and when they picked him up, I asked our old pal JD Burke, because JD still, he's works for Elite Prospect, thinks about this stuff, and wrote about him quite a bit in 2020. And he said, I'm sorry, he's just not. I'm not a fan of his sort of growth potential. And I talked to a couple of scouts that I talked to around the league, and both of them said they're like, no, he just doesn't have the head. You can see the school, and you can see it. You can see this. I immediately saw it when he was skating there on Saturday. I'm like, this guy, I can see the wheels, and I can see what he does sort of in traffic with the puck. But there's no finish, and there's the sort of ability to process the game and make the game work. He has scored at every other level, so you can see why you'd want to see it go. And you hope you're wrong on this one, but I would say through 3 games, we've seen exactly what everybody's told me I'd see, which is that, he will look fun and flashy, but the finish just isn't there.
Doesn't mean I'm critical of the acquisition, because, if Bluger and or Chytil are in the lineup, he's not. But this is the necessity that they are in. And I ask you, how patient are the Vancouver Canucks going to be right now, given who's out of the lineup? Nobody's gone for months, it doesn't appear.
Yeah.
But, all these games count. And, if you find yourself 5 games below 500 on November 20th, that's a long way back to the playoffs.
We've got a month till American Thanksgiving, which is, as we know, the waypoint that matters. 3/4 of the teams in a playoff spot at that point in the season will remain in a playoff spot at the end of the season. And the Canucks are on the edge of that, but they still need to win more than they lose to get there. So you're absolutely right. Like there's only so much patience, but there's also only so many guys they have. I mean, they have 2 defensemen left in the minors. If somehow they were to suffer another blue line injury, there's just not a lot of options. Like
Nope.
up front, there's Vitaly Kravtsov hasn't been seen yet, and I guess Ty Mueller could be an option at some point. But like, are you excited about either of those guys? Like, the truth is that as long as you're missing Quinn Hughes and as long as you're missing Connor Garland and in theory, as long as you're missing Filip Chytil, like this team is diminished from where it's supposed to be. And there's really no replacing that. Reichel, I suppose, could find his way and be a Chytil replacement. But like Chytil was playing really well. Like that's the thing to understand in all this. He was doing a lot of good things. And clearly has not just an established NHLer, but an established NHLer who can score. And Lucas Reichel, that was my first question to Patrick Alvin last Friday when they acquired him. I said, how much of this is just simply about here's a guy who's played 170 whatever games it had been in the NHL. Like you needed people who have NHL experience, and he was honest. Like he's like, yes, that's a huge factor here. Still like the player. Like he had scouted him quite a bit going into his draft year. He was a player that he appreciated. And liked, there were lots of elements in his game he liked, and they sort of thought, well, again, it's the classic, maybe he needs a different environment. But I go back to the story Ben Pope wrote for the Chicago Sun-Times, and if you haven't read it, I really urge you to go read it. It's pretty scathing of a player that just at times wasn't prepared, perhaps got a bad deal sometimes with who he played with, but fundamentally in the end came in. Is in his second season, really 22-23, had 15 points in 20 some games or whatever it was, had a nice close to the season, and then just never did that again. And just there was a whole bunch of reasons, and became a fourth liner because there was just nowhere else to put him in the lineup. And he meant, he belonged in the NHL, but it wasn't good enough. So yeah, like, are you patient with the guy? I mean, he's here. What are your alternatives? I think he's better than Nils Oman, right? He's realistically better than Max Sasson. I mean, I love Max Sasson. Max Sasson's a great story, but Max Sasson is not a second-line center. We know that. Maybe Lucas Reichel can be a second or third-line center.
Would you put any money on Filip Chytil being back in 2 weeks' time, or do you think it's going to be much longer than that?
I mean, we haven't even asked. I mean, we asked about.
Scared to ask. I understand. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he's a columnist now. He's not afraid to ask. That's what he is paid the big columnist bucks.
Yeah, and like there's no news. Like I asked, I've asked a couple of times since, and no, there's, is there any no update? Which could be anything.
Well, they said they were encouraged by his early progress, like in the days thereafter, but. Again, that's honesty isn't in the biggest measure with Canucks injury reporting. Mm-hmm. Interesting stuff. Do you see this tweet from Noah Strang? Chytil, he's played just 6 games, yet 5-on-5 shots. He's got 14. It still ranks 3rd on the team.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. Like, he's done a lot. Like
half the season, 3rd.
On a team that has realistically struggled to make things happen. I mean, thank goodness Petey seems to be finding his way around. But like on a team that has struggled, and we knew would struggle offensively, he was doing the job. Like his Corsi, he's good Corsi, like winning faceoffs. The puck was at the end of the ice. You want it to be when he was on the ice. He was making good things happen. It's really too bad he keeps his head down.
What's your sense of what's bothering Quinn and how long he might be gone?
Yeah, I mean, they said lower body. I know, like I've been, you've been wondering if there's lingering effects from we forget how many things went wrong for him last year. He had the hand injury. He had the oblique injury. It was a groin, was it not? In overworking himself coming back. Like, remember, he came back, played 3 games, and then was out again. And Rick Tocchet was basically like he worked too hard.
There is some reporting it's the groin.
What's that?
There is some reporting that it's the groin.
Yeah, and I would believe that. That was immediately what I thought of. I said, listen, like, a guy that's been playing a ton. Now, he's always played a ton, but once that becomes an issue, it's never not there, like it's never not a concern. So I'm not saying it's going to derail his career or anything, but it would not surprise me if he's feeling some aggravation down there and just needs to rest. But yeah, like it's I don't, certainly their hope is that he will be here be there on the weekend, or at worst in Nashville. Now, I mean, I suppose if he feels great on Sunday, he can get on an airplane. But like getting to Nashville, just so we're clear, on a commercial flight is not easy. So I am skeptical if he's not in Minnesota on Saturday.
Hold on.
That he will suddenly appear on Tuesday.
Commercial flight for your captain and best player and the player you're hoping resigns here.
Does.
Like
your PJ in there?
Frankie's got to get the PJ for that one. Come on. Or you book time on a PJ. Like, you find a way outside of commercial flights connecting to Nashville to get your captain and best player.
For them. I hope they do that. Let's leave it at that. Anyway, if he's feeling better, great. Like, that's great for the team because the team needs him. That said, he has actually not been playing that great, and I'm writing about that today because the numbers are terrible. Is the worst in the 9 games he's played. This has been one of the worst defensive stretches of his career. Like, the Canucks are absolutely bleeding shots with him on the ice. It's disturbing, in fact. This is a guy that's been very, very good in controlling the game in his career, and that has not been the case.
Well, the underlines are dreadful for the Canucks, period.
Yeah. But even in dreadful seasons in the past for the Canucks, his underlines have always been good.
Right. They were terrible. As soon as he gets on the ice, they're okay. He's looked less explosive. I'm not saying he's looked so terrible in his skating, but him getting that separation on those stop on a dime turns hasn't been quite as elusive as he can be when he's on his game. And, that would lead me to the groin question mark as well. So all this puts pressure on Thatcher Demko. They're going Lankinen tonight, which is great to see because you would understand their temptation to just say, especially after Demko has declared, I'm 2 years ago Demko already. You'd be awfully tempted to just say he's our only path to victory. Kevin Lankinen's got to step up though here.
Yeah. Oh, they need him. I mean, I think we talked about this the other day. Like, they need him to find his way to competency is what I was describing. You need a competent goaltender, and it's not that he's been incompetent, but he hasn't, in the end, given them quite enough. They haven't been losing because of him, but the comparison right now is stark. Like, Thatcher Demko is playing fantastic, and Kevin Lankinen is not playing fantastic. They don't necessarily need fantastic Kevin Lankinen, but they need pretty good Kevin Lankinen, and they need to figure this out fast because they cannot afford to ride Thatcher Demko into the dust, right? Like, they can't grind him into dust. Like, he just cannot. He can't sustain that. We've seen that. He has been great so far, and clearly, I mean, we heard Adam Foote talk about it on Saturday, which was the sort of the way they planned out the starts last week, which is that they wanted essentially him to have 4 full days between starts. They wanted him to be rested and refreshed. And they wanted the same many ways for Lankinen. Like, they just want these guys. They don't want these guys going back to back. I mean, they don't want them going back to back, and they don't want them making too many starts in a row because they can just tell, especially with the way the schedule is. I mean, it is not a joke. And this schedule is intense. And
is that why they're just rolling 4 lines? Is that why they're just rolling? Is that why they're just rolling 4 lines? And is that and then explain the line skating to me.
There was no line skating. It was 30 seconds. There was a 10-second video that people on social media extrapolated an entire narrative about. Okay. There was no lines. They did 30 seconds back and forth, done. It was nothing. There was no bag skate. So the rolling 4 lines part, I mean, I can believe we're still, I mean, that's one of those ones I'm still looking at. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's going on here? As I've always said, I am of the belief that coach can do more to hurt his team than help. And one of those things that can hurt your team is overthinking it. And I could see in a long season saying, well, we got to roll 4 lines. Well, we got to rest, blah, 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 as opposed to finding extra starts. I think, in Adam Foote's explanation last week, there was some logic to it in terms of the outcome you were looking for, because I think you need to sit down and say, I want Elias Pettersson to have so many minutes tonight. How do I divvy that up? What's the plan going to be? What are the likely scenarios? How do we, what's plan A, plan B? It's like your Formula One plan A, plan B, right? Like, what are we doing here with our tires, right? Variables change. We're prepared for that. If we have a lot of penalty killing, you're not going to get as much 5-on-5 ice time. But every night, roughly how much power play time and how much penalty killing time is going to have. So what face-offs are you targeting for him to be out there? What are you thinking about in terms of where are you spotting your fourth line? Like the Sasson line, when they've been in limited minutes, has done a really good job. They've been what you want a fourth line to be, which is play 6 or 7 minutes a night at 5-on-5, kill a little bit of penalties here and there, and add up to 10 minutes and be effective in those 10 minutes.
Do you agree?
And so, as opposed to what you just said, like the simple version, we'll just roll 4 lines and see how it shakes out. And as we know, that did not go very well for Willie.
Do you agree with loading up Besser and DeBrusk again, knowing that didn't look very good in the first iteration this season? Do you think that, if they just keep running it out, it'll eventually click and then they can lean on one line?
I think Pettersson, it's good that Pettersson's skating more, sort of through the neutral zone. We still haven't seen him skate with zip.
No.
But to me, the way you really need that sort of differentiation between Besser and whoever's in the middle. I think that's kind of why Pettersson and him haven't really worked. It's why him and Miller did work. Now, obviously, JT Miller is not a incredibly fast skater, but he was an aggressive skater and played in a way that suited Besser's instincts. And Besser used to talk a lot about this. It's interesting seeing if he'll build any chemistry with Reichel, because Reichel is a quick skater. I think, I don't know. They're now at the point where I just don't know how you solve the problem, right? Like they're missing 8 guys. Connor Garland has seemed to mesh pretty well with Pettersson so far this season. That hasn't always been the case.
And he's the play driver, less so than EP40 is.
They found a way to kind of make it work. And Kiefer Sherwood's there, and I like Kiefer Sherwood's great game. And he had, it was funny. He actually had some decent games with PD last year. There weren't many great games for Pettersson last year, but some of those that were there were often with Sherwood on his wing. But in the end, you look at the lineup and you're like, this is a preseason fixer upper lineup with Scotch tape all over it. And, we'll see how they go on this road trip, because not having Connor Garland really, really starts exposing you.
Indeed. Congratulations on the promotion and on the book. He's got I'm saying that with the utmost sincerity.
It's a one-year-old
Well, it's on me because it's been true for a year. I just hadn't told you. So you can give me an errors and omissions.
See,
year's worth of E's and O's.
This is why they made him a columnist, because a news reporter would have reported that before a year went by, Patrick. I'm glad your well of column ideas runs so deep that you can go 12 months before actually copping to the promotion. Congratulations on the book. We have a launch party to attend with at the BC Sports Hall of Fame. That's coming up in a couple weeks. Is it next week or 2 weeks from now? Okay.
3 weeks.
I look forward to that. There will be social media.
All right. I'm sure there will be. See you guys.
See ya.
Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center. Well, a massive game Saturday at BC Place as the Lions host the Calgary Stampeders in the West Division semifinal. Quite frankly, a game I did not think would be happening in our town going back just 8 weeks ago. Joining us now to discuss, the owner of the BC Lions, the one and only Mr. Amar Doman. Amar, how are you? Thanks for the time.
Good morning, guys. Doing great and very excited about Saturday. Thanks for having me on.
You're more than welcome. So, Amar, let me take you back to the Friday after Labor Day. Somehow, some way, the Ottawa Red Blacks pull out that game in our nation's capital. They beat your team. You guys fall to 5-7 and 4th place in the West Division. Where's your headspace at after that loss?
At that point, it was looking dire about a playoff spot, which we did not think, it's almost tough to miss playoffs in the CFL. And really, we started to scratch our heads a little bit. But, I don't really get very much involved with the day-to-day stuff, but I'm more the cheerleader for the team. But, having said that, the defense all of a sudden got fixed. There was some new personnel that's come in, some great guys off the practice roster, a couple guys from the U.S. came in, and all of a sudden it just felt like since that game, it's different. Jackson Finley, the last 4 games, a North Vancouver kid who's on fire, 4 interceptions. He's a rookie in the last 4 games since starting. These little adjustments on defense, in my view, have made a big difference. The offense is on fire.
You said new guys came in. Old guys came in, too. TJ Lee came back to the team, and he helped out as well with some leadership back there.
Unbelievable. We haven't lost since TJ Lee has come back. I don't want to jinx that here on air, but you know what? He has brought so much leadership, veteran status back into the locker room there. And for some reason, the whole thing is gelling at the right time. And I'm just so amped up for Saturday. Can't wait.
Tell us, what's been the response here from the community for Saturday's game?
It's been great. And, one of the things we wanted to point out is the reason why it's at 2:30, we elected to move that game, and we had clearance with TSN and CFL because of the World Series potential Game 7. That was a week ago we did this. And here we go. It may go 7 games. Let's hope it goes 6 and the Jays take care of business. That would be awesome for the country. But just if you want to catch both, we bumped it up just for that reason, to be respectful for the Canadian fans that want to watch both.
If there is overlap, will there be screens in the stadium with the baseball game on?
That. So
yeah,
they're trying to see if we can do that, and hopefully some good news comes. We'll announce that very, very soon, and let's hope there isn't a Game 7, but if there is, maybe that could be a fun opportunity to spend the afternoon there.
For the season, despite a sort of a middling start, we'll call it, through those 12 games, you guys have dabbled with opening the bowl a couple of times, obviously. I mean, that in itself is, to me, a little bit of a victory because, not too long ago, that would have been, fool's errand to do such a thing. Overall, would you say that business-wise, it's been a decent year for you guys?
Absolutely. And every year the arrow's gone up on attendance every single year. And we often don't talk about it, but sometimes we're getting crowds that are close to 2 times the Canucks. And, it just doesn't feel, because the building's so darn big. It is what it is. I mean, it's just too big for CFL football. If the building was right-sized, 32,000, I could see us starting to sell out those games coming up the next couple of years. Our rebuild is right on track, if not ahead. And I want to thank BC for coming up and showing up, and I need you there Saturday.
Yeah, if you're in a Riders or Bombers size stadium, right? You guys are near sellouts on a lot of days, and that place just is rocking, right?
Correct, and that's the right size for the CFL. And it's the curse of BC Place, but when you get the big crowds into BC Place, it is so loud. And even if we got the lower bowl sold out with some uppers for this weekend, it's going to be super loud in there to help drown out the offense of Calgary.
Well, since you brought it up, Amar. Are you exploring other stadium possibilities? We know the Whitecaps are. Is there anything that can be done with you guys and the Whitecaps in terms of a stadium that's more appropriately sized?
I think there's been discussions even pre our ownership about those types of strategies. And the problem is land, parking, and being on transit. It's just so hard to get all 3 of those things right. And almost impossible here in Vancouver. To push the team further out into the valley, just not sure about, how that would work. So I think our fan base is okay with BC Place. We're okay with BC Place. It is what it is. It's home. The renovations that are coming in, I don't know if you guys have been in there, but holy mackerel, it's incredible what's going on. The party zones are opening up, more suites, adjusting the press boxes. The corners are changing. The Hall of Fame's moving. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. It is going to be spectacular. There's also, I haven't seen the final plans, but discussion. I think there's going to be field level suites, which again is something that a lot of the modern stadiums have, and bars down on the bottom level. So this is going to come a long way. So let's give this a chance and see what's happening here.
Yeah, it's our first opportunity to talk to you about the displacement that's going to come up next season, where you guys are taking regular season games out into the province of British Columbia. Tell us about that, what made you arrive at the decision you arrived at, and what you're anticipating for those home games outside of BC Place next year.
Sure. So I think what we've done is really special out of a tough situation. So basically, we're out of the stadium for close to 7 weeks, right near the start of our season. So tough overlap with the CFL, with FIFA. So that hurts. But let's, Dwayne and his team, our president, said, hey, let's get creative here. So what Toronto did, and I believe, they're going to play some home games in different stadiums in the CFL, which is, I think okay. I don't think it's digested well with their fan base in Toronto, but we said, let's keep it in BC. Damn the cost, doesn't matter. Let's go to Kelowna and let's bring up that Apple Bowl up to about 18 to 20, maybe 22,000 is what we're trying to look at.
Wow.
2 games in a row. We're aiming to have a Prairie series, if that's possible with scheduling. So Edmonton and Calgary would be our dream. And have a music festival for 2 weeks up there. Basically a 2-week party in Kelowna with 2 games in the afternoon in Kelowna. I think it's going to be, already the fans are, how do I get tickets? It's going to sell out in seconds when this happens. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be so much fun. So let's take a tough situation and really do something special for the interior of BC and British Columbians to come in for. I think we're going to have a hell of a time up there.
Good
wow, 22,000. Well, you guys announced it was 17.5. So you're telling me you're looking at ways to... What's that?
Trying to push higher.
We're trying to push higher.
Oh, cool.
So it's coming with a scaffolding and it's complicated, but we want to pack in as many as we can because we know we'll sell every single seat just like that.
We know you're an island guy. Did you take any convincing, Amar, to move these games east instead of west after the success of Touchdown Pacific last year?
We loved Victoria in that experience. We are doing our preseason game there again. We'll be back to Victoria another time with a Touchdown Pacific for sure. This time we thought, look, it's 2 in a row. There's obviously baseball going on in Victoria, painting the field. It could be a little more complicated. Out there in Kelowna, that thing's sitting idle, so it's like it was waiting for us. And I've got to credit the mayor of Kelowna and Dwayne for putting this together. It's going to be spectacular, and hope you gentlemen can come up. It's going to be fun.
Looking forward to that.
I'm guessing you probably still are going to have a tough time making money, but when you rent the aluminum for 2 weeks, does it make it more doable?
Well, these things are... It's tough to just pop up a football game. There's all sorts of complications and obviously regulations with the CFL we have to adhere to. So there's a lot going on. It's a lot of cost. But, our job here is to do what's right for the fan base and have some fun while we're doing things. And in Kelowna, this will be special.
The more recent news is about the practice facility home. And just wondering what sort of timeline or light you can shed on there. How much longer do you expect to be in your current Surrey home? Do you see that continuing beyond renovations and sort of the reimagining of that area, or is it somewhere else within Surrey or anywhere else?
Yeah, right now we still have some years left on the current lease there. We're trying to facelift it the best we can, but also we read the same media. It's showing that the 10,000 seat stadium is going to go right there. So you can't put a couple $1 million in there knowing it's going to go away tomorrow morning. What we're trying to do is give it a nice facelift for now. The players have been amazing to help us with ideas, and they're just such good guys. They understand the situation I'm in. I would love to build them a state-of-the-art right there because the fields are great, having both turf and grass out there. It's a natural facility, but it does look like those that land is earmarked for the new stadium, the smaller one that's been approved. It looks like it layers right into there. So we're working with Surrey. They've been amazing on what's next. And we're working with the city of Vancouver. We're just talking to everybody. In the meantime, our players have been very patient. We moved the gym outside into a massive tent. It's cool. It's got a good vibe to it. And we're going to start renovating inside very soon, the locker rooms and everything, and doing the best we can, knowing that will not be our long-term place, sadly.
Yeah, well, I know you've opened an office downtown here, a commercial office downtown, Amar. Would it make any sense to try and move the practice facility closer to downtown, or is that just too expensive and not viable?
No, everything's on the table. We would look at moving the practice facility to Vancouver, a field here. It's something that I talked about when we bought the team. I'd be happy to, donate something and leave it for the city. The problem is finding that location, and it's so tight here. I don't need to tell you guys that. It's just hard. This city is so dense, and the parks are protected. It's hard.
Is the answer to everything the P&E, Amar? I mean, we're putting the Whitecaps out there. Maybe you guys should be out there too. I mean, it's undesirable for a lot of purposes because there's no transit, no rapid transit there. But maybe that should be part of the planning as well. I mean, that would seem like a pretty good spot for you guys, right near the freeway.
Yeah, look. We're not throwing out anything. Maybe the Lions end up going back home out there one day. You never know. But right now, with not having that transit, it's very important.
Yeah.
We need 30 plus. Like my dream size would be about 32.5. And I think that would be, it would be hard to get a ticket at some points instead of just there's always a ticket, and that's just, we want to pack this and get it noisy. I think, I don't want to speak for the Whitecaps, but I think their strategy is 17-ish. And I'm not sure that works with the CFL, but, and for parking out there, I'm not sure we could host 32,000 with parking, but everything's on the table, guys, and we're open to ideas.
Our first chance to talk to you since the rule changes were announced, Amar. First of all, if you can just tell us what role, if any, did you have in this as Stuart Johnston was going about fashioning this?
There's been discussions on rule changes for years. Sadly, nothing's happened in years, and these are adjustments. And I know, on the Board of Governors, there are some very hardcore old CFL types, like a lot of the fans have been chirping a little bit about this. There's also a lot of fans and sports experts saying finally the CFL is making some adjustments. And I think the fear, and I'll cool everyone off right now on the fears, there's no NFL going on here or change to the 4 downs. That's not even discussed at these meetings. This is all about making some adjustments. That upright has to be moved. Guys are running into it. The quarterbacks and running backs can't see clearly. Open up the end zone. And then tightening it up a little bit for the non-kickoff return, because the uprights at the end zone just makes sense. Clean it up. And then, of course, having a clock to have cadence, that's a no-brainer. You can't have a ref walking around for 30 seconds and then starting the 30 seconds. Time is valuable more than ever today. So I think having cadence on the clock, like every other league, is just a no-brainer. The Rouge was cleaned up, not eliminated. You can't win on a missed field goal. And this all went 9-0 with the Governors, who have very different views on a lot of things. 9-0. And, it's over 2 years. It's going to be staged in. Guys, we're the only league that haven't made adjustments in decades. We moved the hash marks. That's all we've done, which has helped the game a little bit. But this is just modernizing it a bit. We're not going NFL.
Well, you moved kickoffs back, and you moved the scrimmage line forward after kickoffs, Amar, and that had a really good effect on scoring. And what I've seen since the regular season ended here is scoring's up. Yards are up.
Thanks to your team.
Your team set a CFL record yards per play. Attendance is up this year. You can talk to me about ratings, but with all these things already going in a positive direction, why were a significant slate of rule changes required?
Because they're just required. And, it doesn't matter if I think with player safety, adjustments to the games, whether attendance is up or down or the teams are winning or losing, you make those adjustments. Every single league makes adjustments, and we're no different. Stuart Johnston has brought a different view to this. He really wants to amp up stuff, make some changes, get some noise going. We're not going to tear the game down. Don't worry about that. It's just some adjustments to go forward. We are committed long-term here to the CFL and Canadiana. It's all good. So there's no worries. And also, hey, if the rules don't make sense and things aren't good, we can vote to change them back out again. And, really, there's been, kind of a little bit of two camps, but, quite frankly, the league's moving forward, and I'm excited about that and very excited about the direction of the whole CFL.
Was it a television thing, Amar? Like, are ratings going? We know ratings are down for just about everything because of cable cutters, but was this premised on the fact that as a television product, the CFL was losing ground?
No, this is just predicated on the game should be better, not to grab. I don't think you move the uprights and a bunch of people start watching the game, right? It's about just making the game better. Our job is to solicit fans, engage fans, give them the experience, keep it cost affordable. All the good things about the CFL we have to do anyway. This is just progression.
Yeah. One more, and forgive me, Amar, but devil's advocate questions here. I said on the show I was prepared for changes or refreshing, but I also I do have some curiosity about these rule changes. And I'm particularly curious in that you guys bypassed the rules committee and chose to do this at a governor's level. And look, I know Wade Miller in Winnipeg played the game for a number of years, but I'm just wondering if there was enough football expertise on the body that wound up making these changes. Like, for example, like when you shorten the end zone, even with the goalpost removed as an obstruction, like that's going to have a significant that's going to have a significant effect in the way plays are schemed. So did you guys talk to offensive, defensive coordinators, strategists, schemers to try and get a sense of what all these changes in conjunction would do to the actual gameplay?
So there was, I would say a certain level of confidentiality that had to remain in these discussions. And there was, certain parties discussed, certain parties were not. Certain things are coming in over 2 years and will go to the Rules Committee. But frankly, what's been happening for the last number of decades, really is nothing. And you get too many cooks in the kitchen, guys, nothing happens. Yep. And, this mix of governors, I was quite, surprised that we actually had a vote that went 9-0 because of that. And it was nice to see that everybody from a different viewpoint had the same view on these are adjustments. Hey, we know there's going to be some noise out there when this comes out. There's also been a ton of positive noise. I know sometimes we always focus on the guys that are chirping about, how bad this is going to be and I'm not going to come to a game again. Well, there's a lot of people saying this is awesome. Finally, we're not going to lose a Grey Cup by somebody throwing a pass and hitting an upright when someone's open in the back of the end zone. I mean, look, we still have fair catch. We still have the kickoffs that are the traditional. This game is very traditional. Look at those NFL kickoffs. I mean, that's painful to watch. I can't even stand watching those kickoffs. Adjustments are here. There was one way to do it, and I think that it got done in the right way, and it's being staged in, not rammed down anybody's throat.
In these meetings, Amar, do the old topics ever come up of 10th team U.S. expansion? Are those just pushed so far aside right now, and you're focused on the 9?
No, they always come up, and I'm on the expansion committee, so I'm involved with that. And there's definitely, we need that 10th team. We've been saying this forever, I know. But Stuart's a no-nonsense guy that's very connected in all of the sports leagues, as you know. And he knows everybody. And he's already been back and forth to different parts of Canada. There's a couple of spots that he's zeroed in on. There's, some U.S. interest, but, the U.S., that's, they've got enough football down there. I think Canada needs another team here. I think we could support it very well somewhere in the East, either in Quebec or the Maritimes. And, let's stay tuned. If there was ever a good opportunity, I think the next year or two, we're going to see that happen. That'll shorten the season up 2 weeks as well. You see, we're rolling the season back a bit, so that finishes up. That's something, again, that, these are good changes. And
yeah, I like it.
Let's not overlap with the NFL and get it too cold. Let's finish up around November 7th, which I think is next year's Grey Cup in Calgary, or it might have been for Saskatchewan. I can't recall. But
Saskatchewan,
it's pushed up 2 weeks, right? So we're going to start May long weekend now with the season and then finish just before Remembrance Day. And I think that's just good.
Yep. On expansion, Amar, and look, I know there were different stadium proposals in Halifax as well as potential owner operators. So I understand why that got sort of the lion's share of the league's attention over these last years. But Quebec City is the Canadian city where 20,000 people go to watch a football game from time to time. And no, it's not the CFL; it's the Laval Rouge et Or. And I know the financier of that program, Jacques Tanguay, hasn't been the most receptive to a CFL team in his hood, but. Why hasn't there been more focus on that city, given how well it turns out for football and a potential, collaboration with the Laval program and a CFL team on a stadium?
You bring up a great point. Quebec City is football crazy, definitely. That is on the radar. I think there's, some discussions that could come out of Quebec City, and Atlantic Canada. But Atlantic Canada, to me, is still a bit of a long shot because of no stadium. In today's world, how the governments are, everybody's in debt. So when you come up and talk about a new stadium and you've got an ask and, hey, can you guys kick in $100 million right now? It's no discussions. Everybody's not spending like that. Obviously with the tariffs, Canada's in a tough spot right now. So the kind of free money is harder to get than it's ever been. But when you've got an existing infrastructure like Quebec City, that would fit. Can you imagine a rivalry between Quebec City and Montreal? I mean, that just like when the Nordiques were there in hockey, that was full on, and I think it would be full on and great for the CFL. So let's see what happens, guys.
Yeah, it was one of the fiercest rivalries in all of Canadian sport. Last question here, Amar, but While you don't have the longest drought in terms of Grey Cup wins, you do have the longest drought in terms of Grey Cup appearances, the BC Lions, none since 2011. Is that the standard this year and every year? Is it Grey Cup or bust for the BC Lions?
I think, every team starts out the season wanting to, get a ring. There's no question about that. I think to develop a good team, it takes years, and it takes consistency of players. And we're getting that here. And we're starting to have these new players that have come in gel. Nathan's solid. He's our guy. Like, these pieces are starting to line up. Our receiving core, right? It's the same guys, a couple new guys sprinkled in. It's a dangerous offense. But more importantly now on the defensive side, right? If we can get that to keep clicking like it has in the past 6 games since TJ Lee came back, frankly, as well, which has been just unbelievable. I think we're going to have a multi-year contender here, and that's what I'm looking for. And I hope that we can have that consistency, hang on to our players, and keep that locker room together. Because look at Winnipeg. They're, 5 straight Grey Cup appearances. It's almost the same guys. That's what I'm looking for here is consistency, so a team becomes a team, not a bunch of individuals, and that we all have that same goal. So long answer to your question, but that's what I think develops long-term contenders and champions.
And you can market the stars, and we've been critical of that before, that the CFL does not put the faces of the stars because there's the turnover all the time. You keep the same guys, they're on the billboards every single year, and people begin to connect with them.
Well,
right?
and especially
exactly.
a guy like Nathan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great stuff, Amar. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the candor. Best of luck Saturday against the Stampeders. We'll be there. We'll be watching. Look forward to this postseason.
Thanks, Amar.
Thank you, guys. Everybody, 2:30 BC, come down and see us. Thank you.
Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee. Big game downtown? Yeah, there's a big game downtown this weekend. Make it more than just a night, make it a memory. Stay steps from the action here at the Sheraton Vancouver Wall Center with an exclusive Harrison Price rate. Call 604-331-1000. Mention our show. Some blackout date supply based on availability. 48 years into their club history, the Blue Jays have a postseason pitching performance to pair with all those memorable home runs. Because when you think of all the huge moments for this franchise, they are almost all with the bat, whether it was Joe touching the ball, Robbie in Oakland, Bautista's bat flip, Eddie walking the parrot, or George Springer just last week. Well, Trey Yesavage has entered the chat. The seminal pitching performance in the history of the Toronto Blue Jays. Last night's 6-1 victory over the Dodgers, Game 5 of the World Series, to take a 3-2 series lead and get just one win away from a championship. I cannot believe that sentence has exited my mouth.
Especially in the manner in which that it's occurred. Yesavage has been transcendent this postseason. He's 3-1 as a rookie in the postseason. 12 strikeouts and
his 9th major league start.
The dominance over the key part of the lineup. Mm-hmm. Humbling the likes of Shohei and Mookie Betts and others. I mean, it's unbelievable.
The 12 strikeouts, the most ever by a rookie in the World Series. He walks nobody. Nobody had ever done that. 12 strikeouts, no walks. Nobody had ever done that. He gives up just the 3 hits. The Kike Hernandez home run, really the only notable there.
Yep.
He's one of 12 pitchers to strike out 12 or more. This game ranks with starts from a who's who of baseball and World Series lore. It ranks with the likes of Bob Gibson and Sandy Koufax and Walter Johnson. Like, that's a who's who of pitching in the Hall of Fame.
And credit to Alejandro Kirk behind the plate, because was it the 5th or the 6th where he had the 2 in the dirt and Kirk comes out and calms him down. And he wasn't done. He threw some great pitches, had some great at-bats after that and showed, nope, I'm not done here on the evening. And after the 18 innings, of course, a couple of nights previous, pretty important for the bullpen to have a lighter night's work. And now, I mean, everybody is right as rain for game number 6. to throw everything they can to try to wrap that up.
Well, Yesavage and manager John Schneider both said Kirk picked the perfect moment that he needed a talking to or reset. He was at 89 pitches through 6 innings. He had never gone past 94 as a pro, yet John Schneider left him in for the 7th, where he gets that double play to end the frame, as Buck Martinez called it on the broadcast. Want to be able to walk off with your teammates. Well, he did so after 104 pitches, and Schneider said in the postgame that he went to pitching coach Pete Walker after the 6th and said, I don't think we have anyone in the bullpen that's better than this guy right now. And they made the decision just to leave him in beyond his previous career high. You mentioned that lineup, Blake, and there very well could be a day where Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman are giving speeches in Cooperstown.
For sure.
Betts is hitting 130 in the series, and his disappearance is a big storyline if the Dodgers go on to lose, because he bats behind Ohtani in the lineup, and the Jays don't need to pitch to the Japanese star if the guy behind him isn't scary. Or as comedian Annie Agar put it, Shohei's used to Betts not hitting.
Oh, wow. See what you did there.
Mm-hmm. She did, not me.
The
The Dodgers offense, incidentally, over the last 20...
Translator, come on. Can't make those kind of... It was the translator.
Dodgers offense over the last 29 innings is 16 for 95, hitting $168, just 4 runs, 29 strikeouts. Now, here's the thing. So if I asked you before last night, best pitching performance in Jays history, Steve's no-hitter.
Right, yes.
Roger Clemens striking out 18. Brendan Morrow lost a no-hitter in the 9th inning once. Steve lost several no-hitters late.
I'm sure there was a couple of great Halladay performances as well,
right?
but nothing that's in your back pocket.
No, exactly.
That you can just easily say.
There would not have been a playoff game that came quickly to mind. There's no Jack Morris, Oral Hershiser, Madison Baumgartner, Don Drysdale. Like, you know, all these franchises have one singular pitching performance in the postseason that every fan base can instantly reference, and that just wasn't the case with the Jays until last night.
They got solid pitching out of Cone and Stottlemyre and the likes way back, but nothing transcendent.
Yeah, the answer is probably by the stats and analytics. Jimmy Key's performance Game 4 of the World Series in Atlanta in '92, what turned out to be his final start for a franchise icon. He struck out 6 over 7 2/3, allowed 5 hits, 1 run, got the win. He also won Game 6 in relief.
But that's what I would call a really nice start.
That's right.
Not a transcendent one.
Juan Guzman had a couple of really nice starts, both in '92 and in the '93 series, but nothing like Yesavage's line last night. The game turned early. In fact, the winning run score is just 3 pitches in. How often are you going to be able to say that? On the Vladdy Guerrero home run in the top of the first, this after Davis Schneider hits Blake Snell's first pitch out of the yard.
What was going on with Snell? Did you see what he looked like?
Oh, my God. The bags under his eyes.
What's going on?
He did not look well.
And the wild pitches by everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, is it getting to the Dodgers? This is some guys have won 2 World Series on this team. Mm-hmm. It feels like they're crumbling on the stage.
It kind of does. I saw I think it was Buster Olney tweeting. He was talking to a scout last night and going, boy, the Dodgers, that 18-inning game, I think that took more out of them than it took out of the Jays.
Yeah.
Now we've come to know Davis Schneider a little bit. He's a quirky guy with all the mimicked batting stances.
Right.
His family is fun, too, from New Jersey. Here's their reaction to his home run last night.
Oh! Oh no! No way! No way! No! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! You gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me! Woo! Woo! Holy Christ! Oh my God!
Great section.
Yeah.
A lot of Jays fans in the vicinity.
For sure.
Friends and family.
Also, his sister Madeline is active on social media, picking off strays. And I got to admit, I furrowed my brow when I saw Davis Schneider was leading off last night. See, one Jays fan, Davis Schneider leading off is a Fucking choice. Madeline, the right one, I guess. And we talked to C's play-by-play man Tyler Zickle from LA the other day. He's down there covering the series and these 5 former Vancouver Canadians on the Blue Jays. Tyler had a chance to catch up with David Schneider pregame yesterday and asked him about, well, his experiences here in Vancouver and at the Nat. Here's Zickle with David
Talk
Schneider.
to us about your time with the Canadians, both rookie ball and high A. You got a taste of life in Hillsborough when the borders were closed, then came up in 2022. Your meteoric rise sort of began. I remember that week in Pasco, Washington. I remember a heart-struck double down the line with the Nat, and a sunny day might have been a Fortis BC Lunar. What's it like playing in Vancouver and specifically at Nat Bailey Stadium as we get ready to celebrate 75 years of our historic ballpark?
Yeah, it's been great. I played there for 2 years, actually 3 technically, 2019, 2021, and 2022. So 1 year, obviously, we played Hillsborough for all the year, but the Nat's awesome. I love playing there. I love going to the park each day. The fans were awesome. It felt like a big league atmosphere. I mean, we were only in high A, low A for a year, but the fans were awesome. I just couldn't be more grateful to have a chance to play there and play in front of amazing fans. And I love the city too. Vancouver was probably one of my favorite cities to play for, and just to travel and kind of do a lot of things there. And I didn't think I would be here in the World Series playing in Vancouver, but here we are now, and ready to win.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Tyler was able to ask John Schneider and Yesavage questions last night in the general media availability. You could see a twinkle came to their eye when they saw he was on the other side, remembering their journeys. We talked about John Schneider's journey through the Canadians yesterday. Of course, Yesavage, it was very brief, but yes, he was here too. That's courtesy of the Vancouver Canadians. And hey, we've been telling you for months and months and years. Catch the Blue Jay Stars of tomorrow. You may actually even see them in the World Series by getting your tickets at the Nat. 604-872-5232, CanadiansBaseball.com.
We've often, done the sort of the elbow to the ribs of, you go to the Nat, but you're not really paying attention to the baseball. It's the atmosphere you're soaking in.
It's the entertainment.
And for the most part, it's that.
Yeah.
But I wonder if things like this, Matt, bring people's eyes a little bit more closely to who they're watching, because they want to be able to say, I saw you say, I think this might get people a little bit more in tune to the baseball now.
Oh, I think
when they go to Nat Bailey.
Well, Blake, look, Alejandro Kirk, homegrown. Vladdy Guerrero, homegrown. Bo Bichette, homegrown. Davis Schneider, Addison Barger. Look at the number of these Blue Jays players that came up through their system.
Yeah.
And how about those Jays bats? 10 earned runs against Snell, who came into this series on a 6-start run for the ages, like a historic 6-start run. He allows 2 home runs in the previous 8 postseason starts, combined just 2 home runs in his previous 12 starts over a span of 73 innings, and they hit 2 home runs on 3 pitches.
It was bonkers.
Game 6 tomorrow, Yamamoto versus Gausman. The World Series will be decided in Canada. Gotta say, as a Jays fan, I'm nervous tomorrow because of Yamamoto.
Yeah.
And look, the pressure may get to him, but Yamamoto's on a run here where it's more than just he has his good stuff. Like, he's now in a rarefied air of pitching, what I've seen in the last 2 starts.
Oh, it's incredible.
2 complete games in the playoffs, which you never see.
No.
Anymore.
You don't see complete games, period.
No, exactly. Like, he's on a Baumgartner, Hershiser, Jack Morris, like, just forget about it. So I'm nervous and do expect a Game 7 here. And Blake, I was also terrified when I saw this. Teams who go up 3-2 win it just 66% of the time. I was hoping to see a bigger number.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a good number, but it's less convincing than you'd think.
It's not a great number, though. It's 2 out of every 3. Gosh, I hope this is one of the 2.
As for Gausman, there was a great cutaway, 6th inning, maybe the 7th, after Yesavage had mowed down a couple of guys in a row. Remember, maybe it was part of that, 4 or 5 guys he struck out in a row. And they cut away. It just happens to cut away to Gausman. And Gausman just has this look like, this is really cool. Like he was admiring the kid, and I thought it was a good sign, Matt, because it was like, he was almost getting inspired by the 22-year-old on the mound.
Honestly, watching Gosman and Scherzer watch their fellow pitchers is entertaining.
Yeah.
Because Max was like
he's
so animated after Yesavage.
Eating snacks.
He was
and-
throwing things around the dugout. Like
Yeah.
he just, the nervous energy, the pride, the hype.
The mastication of the gum. Like, oh my God, he was
Exactly.
grinding it to dust.
Now, it was not all sunshine and roses last night at Dodger Stadium. We have to talk about anthems here, Blake. And specifically, Rufus Wainwright's rendition of "O Canada" last night. A Can-Am singer-songwriter, grew up in Montreal. We can't play it because A, copyright, and B, because it should never be heard again. He managed to murder our anthem in both official languages. Call the RCMP, double homicide to report. Now, apparently, the changes to the English words of the language were intentional. He sang "Only Us" command as a rebuke of Trump's 51st state nonsense.
I see.
But then he got to the French part where he started singing gibberish.
Oh,
Like he messed up the first lyric en français, as AV would say. And I think that threw him off. I mean, the guy's from Montreal. Surely he should know the bilingual anthem. And so I think he got really shook when he actually got to Epopéia, in the correct place. And then he just started making up words that weren't French. As John Hodge of 3 Down Nation tweeted, this guy really Joey Tribbiani'd his way through the French section. Do you get that reference?
I don't.
Friends episode, Joey Tribbiani, played by Matt LeBlanc, has to say some words in French, can't remember his lines, so just starts going like, with a French accent. No, it's actually what Rufus Wainwright was doing in the anthem last night.
And to be fair, the immediate audience would not have known any different.
Wow. This was the second international incident with our anthem as Dodger Stadium. JP Sachs's rendition, also panned in Game 3, also included a changed lyric. And
As long
Los
as it's,
Angeles, the entertainment capital of the world. Countless Canadian musicians and singers either live there part-time or have moved there full-time. Where's victorious David Foster, the music producer? Can we not get a couple of Canadians who actually know the anthem?
David Foster, what is it, 1988? Come on.
You don't think he's
How old
got
are you?
contacts?
Oh, if you want him to be the middleman, sure.
No,
There's that
I
one.
don't want him to sing it. He's
Okay.
70. I want him to... He's like Mike. He's a producer, composer,
Now,
arranger.
Rufus Wainwright is a known commodity.
I knew the name.
JP Sachs, no.
I knew the name. I could not, for the life of me, picture his face nor understand where I knew the name from.
Yeah, I know the name, but same thing. It's okay. It's just the anthem.
Well, it's okay because we're moving on from Dodger Stadium and we'll have good anthems.
Matt, any old Canada not sung to the tune of "O Christmas Tree"?
Honestly, this
Good
one
enough.
was the worst since "O Christmas Tree," and we've heard some bad ones. Tomorrow, we'll talk to MLS Defender of the Year, Tristan Blackman, as the Caps get set for Saturday's match in Dallas with a chance to advance to the Western Conference semifinals in MLS. Blackman trained with the team yesterday, testing that injured knee. So did Ryan Gauld before moving inside to the gym, but that was pre-planned. Eddie Ocampo left early after a collision, and Blake, he's not out there today.
No.
And that's a concern. What would be the lineup adjustment if Ocampo can't go?
Yeah, I mean, it changes certainly because Ocampo pushes so well down that right side. But, first half of the season, he wasn't the everyday right back. It was Laborda in a lot of cases. Now, Laborda, due to injury, ended up having to come to center back and then left back. I think what you would probably do is try to, if Ocampo couldn't go, you go Laborda as a right back, and you'd force Pupa to try to get a half out of him, see how he feels at the
So
half.
that's with Blackman going then, right?
No, Black. It'd be Halbuni as
Okay, Halbuni.
the right center back. Left center back would be Pupa. to start, and if
you
you
have
can get past,
Priso if you need him, and
Yeah.
you hope that Blackman can give you something.
yeah, I mean, you could go Priso back at center back, but my goodness, that would be, yeah.
It's not his natural position. He's played there like 4 times, and he's accounted himself well, but yeah. Anyways, we'll see how Jesper Sorensen figures it out. I mean, he's also got another day here, so we'll see what training looks like
Yes.
today, and of course travel tomorrow. LAFC beat Austin 2-1 in Game 1 of their Western Conference quarterfinal. The Caps would face the winner should they advance
It's
either
too
Saturday
bad.
or next Friday.
That was a 1-1 game late.
Yes, it was.
And, you know, if Austin's able to seal that in penalties, remember after 90 minutes go straight to penalties, oh, that would have been delicious.
Well, they would have been going home with a 1-0 series
Yeah.
lead and a chance to polish off mighty LAFC with the Korean star Sonny.
I mean, for the spectacle, it really should be Whitecaps versus LAFC, but, you know, you'd feel a lot better about their chances if it was Austin.
I think you want to beat the best. So Saturday, the Caps can advance. If they fail to, it's back here next Friday at BC Place. November 7th for the deciding match. Nathan Rourke and Mathieu Betts are the West Division nominees for CFL Player Awards. Rourke for Most Outstanding Player. It would be his first. He's been a Most Outstanding Canadian in the past. Betts for Most Outstanding Defensive Player, which would be his second. Hamilton quarterback, Bo Levi Mitchell. Hamilton defensive end, Julian Hauser are the East Division nominees in these categories. Receivers Keon Hatcher, Justin McInnes, offensive tackle Jarrell Broxton, kicker Sean White joined Rourke and Betts on the West Division All-Star team. Hatcher's a lock to make the All-CFL team. And James Butler held out of practice again yesterday. Good thing they have Xander Horvath. Instead, 9 other Lions were limited at practice, including McInnes, Broxton, offensive tackle Dejon Allen, and defensive tackle Jonah Tavai, who missed last week's win over Saskatchewan.
Same thing as the Whitecaps, though. There's enough days left that maybe that number gets whittled down.
Results of the Redwoods Golf Course poll question from yesterday. We asked you, with everything going on, busiest sports week you can remember, 53% said no.
Okay.
And errors and omissions from yesterday's program and beyond. We mentioned that the Canadian women's national team has had a struggle here, dropped 2 friendlies over in Europe. But different lineups. I asked about Kadisha Buchanan, their fine center back. She is not playing. She is injured right now, so Canada was missing one of its stars.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time and connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow them on social. That's X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky. We are noon Pacific time weekdays, although next week we have some of those early Canucks starts, so we'll let you know about starting earlier. And please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about and keep it local.